we're going to work into the sorting. And as I mentioned before, the sorting, it can be the biggest job. It does not have to be. It is really up to you on how much energy you want to spend on the sorting portion. You do not have to touch every item in your home. You don't have to go into every nook and cranny and separate it into 3 different piles. You don't have to do that. I'm going to give you an approach that will help you maybe minimize some of that extra effort. So when you're thinking about sorting, remember the sorting phase is deciding what goes with you. That's your focus. That's the outcome. And I'm going to encourage you to think about keep 2 focuses in mind when you're talking about sorting. So the first one is going to be your surroundings. And your surroundings, what we mean by that is like, what's it going to be like in your new residence? What's going with you? What furniture is going with you? What furnishings are going with you? Your art, your collectibles, your favorite things. Keep in mind the end goal of being comfortable and happy in your new residence, having what you need with you and what you want to. And at this stage in the game, early on, it can be really helpful to have somebody do some space planning, unless you're good at this yourself, which I know probably some of you are. You want to measure that furniture. You want to know exactly where everything's going. You need a floor plan. And then I find a lot of my clients really do benefit from having a professional interior design person at least do a consultation to help kind of cherry pick things that will work together, that will work, well in your new space. So that's your surroundings. Now your story is, I put a big focus on the story, because at the end of the day, what do you have other than that, right? I mean, your story is your personal journey through life. It's the people, the events, and it's supported by artifacts. And the artifacts can be anything, any meaningful thing in your home or in your possession that triggers memories for you. If it's collectibles, if it's, tchotchkes, if it's photographs, if it's, your teddy bear, any of that stuff, these items are telling your story. But the trick is to preserve all of the story and only some of the artifacts. You're going to have to choose, but let's don't leave that story out of it. Let's put the story front and center, and then we'll support it with some artifacts that you choose to bring along. Okay. So get out your pencils. This is the #1 tip that I'm going to send you home with today. Maybe you're already doing this, but if you're not, start focusing on the things you want to keep and not the other way around. If you try to focus on every single thing that you own, yeah, you will be caught up for months or years making decisions about every single thing in your house. If you're focusing on what you just want to keep, what's going to make you comfortable and tell your story, in your next living situation, you're going to be able to eliminate 75% of those decisions. And there's a little tool that I like to use. I call it the rowboat. And sometimes I just picture a rowboat. So just imagine that you're going to row out to, Paradise Mather Island, and you only get one trip in this rowboat. And all of your favorite items need to go in this rowboat. What's going in there? You're going to need to make some decisions about what do you truly treasure, or what can you shrink down, so that your favorite items can fit on this rowboat. And your rowboat could be, you could set up an area in your house, if you are doing this working ahead kind of version of it, but just, it kind of works. Actually, some people's rowboats are bigger than others, but most people need to reduce their belongings by 75% or more. And then just to carry that rowboat analogy a little bit further, once you push off with all your favorite stuff in your rowboat, just leave the rest behind. You're not going back. We'll take care of it. It'll go to people who want it or need it. We'll try to keep it out of the landfill, but those decisions, once you've decided that you don't want it, don't put any more energy into it. like that's just energy that you could be spending thinking about your future life and investing in relationships and just moving on with stuff. So that's kind of my golden rule advice on sorting. Okay, so now we're going to talk about collections. And gosh, people just love their collections. I mean, when I get calls, 9 times out of 10, people talk about their collections immediately. They'll say, oh, my mom had all these Hummels, these crystal things, or I have my grandmother's china, or several sets of china. Or like my client Arlington, he's got 2,000 elephant-shaped items that he and his wife have collected in their years of foreign service. They mean something to you, and that is completely legitimate. But you have to find a way to kind of save out the best of it. So when I think about collections, I think about 2 kinds. And one is the formal collections, like I just mentioned, figurines, china, stemware, that kind of thing. And then the other, which all of us have, are these informal collections. And that could be your holiday decorations. It might be your tools and your tool set, hobby supplies, if you're a painter, or for me, it's like kitchen stuff. I love to bake. I've got 200 cookie cutters, You're going to need to be deliberate in your decision making about your collections. And at this point, if you need somebody to come in and help you evaluate the value, let's say if you have art or sculpture or rugs or something that you think may have value that's going to impact your decision, now is the time to get those opinions, to help inform your decisions. And then one other thing I'll say about collections, obviously keep what you love. And to that point, it's okay to separate sets. If you have china, it's okay to take 4 place settings. That is completely fine. Take 2 of those champagne flutes. You don't have to take everything. And there is no reason for you to keep the other set together, because this is about you and your belongings, what you've collected. So that's what I'll say about that. And if people have specific questions about collections, I'll definitely answer those questions in the Q&A. Oh. Why won't it let me go? Okay, that worked. The second piece of collections is documents, which is a lot less fun, but still needs to be taken care of before you move. You certainly don't want to carry a bunch of bankers' boxes full of old documents over to the Mather. And hopefully, a lot of your important documents, medical, insurance, financial, hopefully a lot of those are already digitized, and you have access to them. But if you have boxes that you feel like need to be sorted, if you're the stewards of somebody else's paperwork, now is certainly the time to do that. Bite the bullet. You just have to do it. And there are people to help you. Some people specialize in this if this is a problem for you to go through paperwork, which it is for a lot of people. And then the second type of document is this, the personal letters, like the sentimental items, your kids' drawings, the little books they made in grade school, all of that stuff. I love those because that's fun to sort. It is fun to go back and look through all that stuff, especially when you have time like you do. And most people with a common household scanner, that's a manageable project. And I think you'll be glad that you did it, to go ahead and scan that, because a lot of those items are fragile.